Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO. Free, impartial advice on all your debt.
This is something that comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special.
Razavani for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. It's Sunday, just hit midday. With me, I've got the man of the moment, Mr. Ohara Davies, aka OD. What's happening, Ohara?
I think, man, it's good to be back at iFilm. You know what I mean? iFilm's the best in the business. And been a decent morning. Just got out from bed a few hours ago, so gonna go take a run soon.
I was about to say, normally you run on a Sunday. Is that still to come yet?
Yeah, about to run after this interview, actually.
Ohara, let's go straight into it. Last night, we saw the return of Anthony Joshua, the heavyweight champion of the world. He was out of the ring for over a year. How did you assess his performance?
Being outside the ring for that long is a long time, but AJ fought a really good fight. Like, I feel like people underestimated Pulev. I feel like people feel like because AJ's AJ, he's automatically meant to win every fight. People don't know that in his last fight last night, he came up against a good champion. And Pulev fought a good fight. Pulev caught AJ quite a few times, and AJ almost had him out in the third round with it. But Pulev fought through, and then he started catching AJ with a few left hooks, with quite a few right hands. But AJ fought through the fight, played a smart game, and he took him out late on.
In the third round, we saw when Anthony, after he dropped in the first time, Pulev turned his back completely. I think a lot of people thought that the referee might just call it off there and then. What was your reaction there?
Pulev, he did turn his back, but I don't think it was enough for the fight to be called off at that moment. If it did get called off, people would have been like, come on, it's been a whole build-up, a massive fight. AJ hasn't fought in a whole year, and you're going to stop the fight because this guy turned his back. Come on, if he's not down on the ground here, if he's not down and out, let him fight some more. It's a bit too big of a fight for it to get stopped just because this guy turned his back in round 3. The guy he was hurt, but the guy wasn't gone. So the fight, it had to continue for our entertainment as boxing fans.
I know you've known AJ for a long time. I've seen pictures of you from very young days. Have you ever seen AJ like you saw him at the weigh-in on Friday? Like, Pulev really looked like he got to him.
He did look like he got to AJ, but no, I feel like AJ's always had it in him, I think. But at times he's kind of like suppressed that side of him, and he's kind of felt that way inside, but he hasn't bring it outside. But with last night is when he finally bring it outside. You look at him when he fought guys like Dillian White. Look how calm he was when he fought Kevin Johnson. Look at how calm he was. But I reckon he was calm on I feel like he was calm on the outside, but on the inside he was fucking raging. And last night he was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be more me. And I feel like as the years go on, we're seeing a lot more of AJ being himself now.
The big fight that everybody now is going to cry out for is Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. It's goosebumps just talking about it because they both hold all the belts. They're two of the biggest stars in British boxing, if not world boxing. A lot of people have doubts. I was going over Twitter last night, the American media as well. Like, they're all saying that if you've already principally agreed the split, which is kind of one of the key factors in negotiations, everything else should kind of just fall into place. We know there's other hurdles, but everyone still thinks there's doubts that this fight happens.
I doubt this fight's going to happen. It's a bit too much going on in the background. Whose show is it going to be on? Is it going to be on BT Sport? Is it going to be on Sky Sports? Is it going to be in America? Who's going to be doing what? Like who's going to choose the undercard? Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, or Bob Arum? And I mean, there's a bit too much. I don't think like it's as easy as that. AJ might want the fight. Tyson Fury might want the fight, but I don't think this fight is gonna. I hope it happens next, but I've got my doubts as to whether it will happen next.
Your friend made an appearance last night, Floyd Mayweather. Did you manage to pop around and see him?
Nah, listen, I haven't spoken to Floyd since what happened that day at the O2, but it was good to see Floyd there supporting it. There to like have AJ's back, support AJ, show his love. Listen, AJ's a great man. And I feel like AJ's got a really clean heart, and he deserves all the success that he's got. a lot of people don't know AJ's helped me out quite a lot a bit early on in my boxing career. For an example, when he fought for the world title, when he fought Charles Martin for the world title, I fought for my first ever title in that same show. I fought Andy Keats for the English. My fight purse for that fight, looking at it now, I would say it wasn't a lot, but looking at it back then, it was the most I had earned at that time. But AJ asked someone how much I'm going to be earning for the fight, and once he heard how much I'm going to be earning, AJ added on almost twice as much as I was meant to get. And, you know, he said, oh, you know what, I'm going to add on that, but don't tell him. But then obviously I found out that he actually added on a lot more. And I went over to him and I just said, thanks. But he just like, yeah, that's fine. That's all cool. But he didn't do that he didn't do that to get props or tell Ohara so Ohara can go online and start telling people that AJ done this good deed. Like, no, but AJ helped me out. And anytime that I needed a bit of advice, he would give me advice. And I know amateurs in boxing now, that AJ helps out. Because he's still around the scene helping all the amateurs up in his gym up in Finchley. And I've heard a few stories only like last week and the week before. I heard of a few young kids that he's there helping out. So he does a lot for boxing and for the boxing community, and he helps out. And I feel like when you got a heart like that, that's why you get so far in the game, because you want to see everyone win. And I feel like when you got that mindset, come on, life's gonna do you good.
No, absolutely. Ohara, you fought in the Golden Contract final with Tyrone McKenna, without the crowd. Yesterday we saw 1,000 people back, and it seemed like there was more than 1,000 people with the noise that was being made. But good to see fans back.
Listen, man. At the end of the day, I don't get cheered in anyway, so nah, I'm joking. You know what? I'm joking. I love the fans. I love having the fans there. Whether I get cheered or booed, I don't really mind. I like hearing the noise. I feel like in my last fight, that's what got Tyrone McKenna. I feel like McKenna feeds off the fans. So when I heard that I'm fighting him behind closed doors, there ain't gonna be no fans there, mate. I ain't complaining, because I would have got booed in, he would have got cheered in, and the fans would have given him life. But so, you know, I'm quite thankful that for the last fight there were no fans there, but for the next fight there are going to be fans there, and I'm still looking forward to it.
Let's talk about your friend on the undercard, someone you've had a bit of rivalry with, back and forth with, Florian Marku, fighting Jamie Stewart, I believe.
Yeah.
Jamie only had a couple of days' notice. It wasn't a lot of time that he had. Obviously, a couple of opponents pulled out for Florian. Florian obviously has a huge following, as you know. I think close to 500,000 followers on just Instagram alone. But the fight was a draw yesterday. How do you see that fight playing out? A lot of people said he was robbed of the victory.
I feel like Jamie Stewart was robbed. I feel like Jamie Stewart, I would give it to him by 1 round. I feel like Jamie Stewart won the fight against Florian Marku by 1 round. I watched the fight. I sat down. I watched it carefully. I watched it back over, and I give the fight to Jamie Stewart. I think he won the fight for 1 round. But Florian Marku, being an A-side fighter and being the guy hyped up, he was quite fortunate to get a draw. In my honest opinion, I feel like Florian Marku was quite fortunate to get a draw in that fight last night. And anyhow Jamie Stewart was the A-side fighter, he would have won that fight easily. So I don't see how Marku got robbed when he's the A-side fighter. The A-side fighter doesn't get robbed. So if anything, Jamie Stewart got robbed. He should be gone down the boxing board, appealing and trying to get that rematch so that things can be set straight. But listen, Jamie Stewart, he took the fight on a few days' notice. How many days? 2 days' notice, 3 days' notice, and he went in there and he beat Florian Marku. And this is the same guy that they said beat me up in sparring. Come on, listen, I sparred him 3 times. 2 of the times I made him quit. The first time, the guy quit in round 3, mate. The guy quit in round 3, and then the second time he quit in, I think it was round 4 or round 5, and he likes to hype himself up. He's got a bunch of yes men around him, Sam Jones and all these guys. They all lick his ass because he's got 500,000 followers on Instagram. But what I'm trying to say is, Instagram followers can't buy you talent. At the end of the day, you can talk, you can tweet, you can post on Instagram all you want, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to back it up in the ring. And what we saw last night is he couldn't back it up in the ring. Like, the guy that he fought is the kind of guy that you're meant to get out of there. They're the kind of guys that you go to points with and then you start crying, I got robbed. you're meant to get him out of there. If you're trying to say, I battered Ohara Davies in sparring, trying to call out Conor Ben, Chris Congo, if you're trying to call out all these names and you can't beat a guy that took the fight on 2 days' notice, come on, man, something's gone wrong. Something's gone wrong. And I see, you know, I feel like Jamie Stewart, I kind of feel for him because Jamie Stewart really deserved to win that fight last night. And I know that Marku's next fight, who's he fighting again? Ryan Charlton, I think he's fighting.
That's right, yeah.
The guy that beat Joe Laws. And I'm going to call in Ryan Charlton as I'm going to be the main sparring partner for him for that fight, because we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that he's in the best shape he can be in. Because this fight, well, it's not going to be that hard of a fight anyway, but I'm going to get him in the best shape that he can be in. You know what I mean? Because I've sparred Florian Marku. I know how to imitate him, and I will be imitating him against his next opponent to make sure that his next opponent is in his best shape.
Florian, Sam Jones, Don Charles, everyone was quite upset at the end of the fight. Even Eddie Hearn turned around and said, well, I don't know how the judges scored it that way. But when you say he's a hype man and they just hype, but what do you mean by that?
They're not upset because it was a draw. They're upset because this guy that they thought was a golden boy was going to be the next cash cow. They realised this guy is shit. They realised this guy ain't good as he says he is, or as we thought he was. Don Charles realised he ain't as good in the ring as he is in the gym. You know what I mean? In sparring, he is good. Even though I made him quit twice in sparring, he is still good. He is still good work. And he gave me really good work for the first 2 rounds. But the guy's a 3-round fighter in sparring. But for round 1 and round 2, he gives you really good work. And he is really good in the gym. He looks good in the bags and the pads. He looks fast. He looks sharp. But when he goes in there, he couldn't pull it off. And listen, I've always liked Don Charles. Over the past few years, like I've known Don Charles for years. When I was over at Tunde's gym, Tunde used to take us up to Don Charles's gym when he had Derek there. And Don Charles hasn't had his break yet. He had Derek, but then Derek left him. And whenever I went up there, Don Charles really showed me love. And after Florian Marku quit in sparring, and then I got kicked by him, Don Charles came up to me and he was like, "OD, I'm so sorry about what happened, blah, blah, blah. I can't control this guy, Florian Marku. I can't control him, but, I'm very sorry about what happened. I've never seen him get battered like that in sparring. There's only you and one other guy that I've seen do that to him in sparring, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You're giving him really good work and he's not on your level." He was saying all these good things about me. And then after that, Don Charles comes online saying, yes, Florian Marku done well in sparring against OD. Florian Marku this, Florian Marku that. So I don't respect Don Charles no more. You go and tell Don Charles, I don't respect that motherfucker no more. Because he was all in the gym licking my ass and then he wants to come online and lick Marku's ass. But you know what, Don Charles? This guy that you thought was your next cash cow ain't going to be your cash cow. Derek's gone and Florian Marku ain't going to be nothing. So now you're fucked. Now you're fucked. And go tell that to Don Charles and to everyone else in that gym. And go tell Eddie Hearn that, yeah, I know that Sam Jones has got Joe Joyce, and Joe Joyce, he just won a big fight, he just beat Daniel Dubois. But listen, Florian Marku is not Joe Joyce. And Sam Jones is a good manager. But on this one, he fucked up.
Is that a fight that you would ever entertain in the future? Whether it's like
Listen, I would entertain the fight if he can get on my level. But this guy's not even Southern area level from what we saw last night. You can't beat a guy that took that you can't beat. You can't stop a guy that took a fight on 2 days' notice. The guy that ain't really all that. Come on, you see what I've won. You see the WBC silver there. You see the WBA, the other 2 WBC belts. I'm not a world champion, but I'm not on British level. I'm not on English level. I'm not on Southern area level. I've passed that level. Now I'm going on to world level. You can't compare me to a guy that's not even on Southern area level because he's got Instagram followers. That's your mistake. Instagram followers cannot buy you big fights unless you're Logan Paul and Floyd. Unless you're Floyd and Logan Paul, having a massive Instagram following cannot get you into a big fight because in professional boxing, you have to work your way up there. And if Marku can work his way up to where I'm at, then 100% is a fight that I'll take now because I know it'll be the easiest fight of my life. Mate, even before my last fight, yeah. I know I know that I'm kind of going off subject now, but before my last fight, I knew that, and night before the fight, I knew that this fight's going to be the easiest fight of my boxing career. So I remember being there in the hotel in the bubble the night before, and I was thinking, wow, am I really going to get all this money just to make easy work with this guy? This guy's like a journeyman to me. And like, it's like, you know, when you fight in those little 4-round fights and you don't get hit, and you get probably 1,500 to 2K, 2.5K to fight in those fights, because that's what I was getting. I was getting about 2.5K. And you know, as I was fighting in the 4-6 rounders when I was starting to match him. So before my last fight, I was like, wow, am I really going to get all this money just to make easy work with this guy? This guy ain't even good. And after the fight was done, I was like, damn, I just made all this money. I just won a massive, big deal. And I didn't even get hit. I was like, hell fucking yeah. Listen, that last fight, it was easier than a sparring session. McKenna was easier than a sparring session. I had sparring sessions where I got hit. In that last fight, I never got hit. I made easy work with that guy. And anyway, I'm kind of going off subject now, but Florian Marku is not on my level, and he's never going to be on my level because I'm going into big things.
Okay, well, I think it'll be entertaining to see either way. I think the press conference will be entertaining to see either way, but obviously you're in your right to share your thoughts and opinion. Ohara, I appreciate you jumping on and giving me a few moments of your time. I'm not sure whether I'm going to catch you again before the year ends, because we're, 2.5, 3 weeks away.
I'm going to Dubai, baby. Hell yeah.
Don't blow up too much, right?
100%. Listen, I'm going to be training when I'm out there as well.
Enjoy your holiday, enjoy the festive season, enjoy the new year, and I'm sure we'll catch up in a fresh 2021 without COVID-19.
100%.
Ohara Davies, IFL TV, thank you very much.
Comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.